Thanks for joining us here on this Wednesday. I'm Brooke Hash. Helene just became a Category 1 hurricane, rapidly strengthening in the Caribbean Sea. It is moving north along Mexico's coast toward the U.S. with sustained winds of 80 miles an hour. It's been prompting residents to evacuate, schools to close, officials to declare emergencies across Florida and Georgia. Heavy rainfall is expected with a life-threatening storm surge. Helene is expected again to become a major category, if not 3 or higher, by tomorrow when it reaches Florida's Gulf Coast. Now, coincidentally, our own Focus reporter John Charlton's in Longboat Key near Sarasota, Florida, celebrating what was supposed to be a wedding anniversary. But John, you're packing up.
Yeah, you could say that, Brooke. Mandatory evacuation issued for this part of Sarasota County and Manatee County. We're on Longboat Key on the Gulf side, of course. This is actually the second time in 3 years that we've had to evacuate from here because of a hurricane. The first one was Ian, where we evacuated to Naples because it was outside the cone, and then once we got to the hotel in Naples, the hurricane shifted and we were inside the cone. Of course, it devastated Sanibel and Fort Myers. But let me give you a look at the beach right now. You can see the water it's turning up pretty good. Yesterday at times it was like glass out here, so obviously the winds are kicking up and the surf is getting rougher. We didn't see very many people on the beach today, but there is one lady out there laying out, reading a book or something, and a couple other people walking up and down the beach. It's not supposed to hit here until overnight Wednesday, today overnight and into Thursday. So we have plenty of time to evacuate, but we definitely want to get off this island before they decide to shut the water off and close the 2 bridges, allowing people in and out or on and off of this island. Brooke.
You trying to fly back out today?
No, we are going to Fort Myers. We have a friend that has a condo there and have invited us to stay there for a couple days to see if we can possibly ride this out from down there. And if we're lucky, it doesn't really affect this area and we can finish out our vacation here on Longboat Key.
I think you should just stay home next time for the anniversary.
Well, our digital manager Jay Scabba, said next year go to Duluth. So I think that would be safer against a hurricane. It might be already snowing in Duluth at this point of the year, but who knows?
I love how you're wearing the sunglasses because, you know, there's so much sunshine right now.
Well, you know, the sand here is awfully white, so there is a glare. So I'm just going to put my sunglasses back on and, just enjoy the view as long as I can before we have to leave.
All right, you and many others. John, get home safe. Thanks so much for tuning in. During your vacation, Hurricane Helene is forecast to hit Florida's Big Bend again by tomorrow night. We'll keep you updated. Closer to home, the National Weather Service says an EFZO touched down in Clarksville, Indiana. Take a look at some of the damage we found. You can see where high winds knocked over a tree, sideswiping a mobile home in the Silver Lakes Point Mobile Home Park. It came close to making a direct hit, and that EFZO came into Clarksville at 80 miles an hour. The National Weather Service said this track was close to that tornado pattern we experienced back in April.
This storm looked very bad about 500 foot off the ground. And fortunately, like in April, there was more instability, fuel, and wind shear to make it much worse. You remember what happened April 2nd? We're very lucky yesterday.
Later today, the National Weather Service will also be surveying Oldham County, though they had told us they didn't see any significant damage there. It is 12:03. I know, Sam, you were tracking things all yesterday. A little bit quieter of a pattern for our weather department today.
Yeah, thankfully, both today and tomorrow a lot quieter. The driest days of this week before we do notice some very wet conditions from Helene later on throughout the course. Mainly on Friday, heading right on into the weekend. Now, a nice deep breath, enjoying our afternoon. We are noticing a couple of patches of sunshine outside. A look downtown Louisville from our University of Louisville camera. 72 at Ali International in Bowman Field sitting pretty at 71 degrees. Not too humid outside, but we still have a noticeable amount of humidity still present in the air thanks to all the rainfall we've seen lately. 72 in the city, 66 in Bardstown. So again today, only looking to be clipping 77 at 4 p.m. It all depends on how many clouds we do see compared to sunshine, but I do think our sky late this afternoon will become a little more mostly cloudy as compared to partly cloudy outside. Now we're going to be able to dry today and tomorrow. I'm tracking heavy bouts of rainfall as we get into the daytime hours on Friday. It's all due in part to the remnants of Helen. Helen now wind of 80 miles an hour, a Category 1 hurricane, and this hurricane will trek along that Gulf Coast of Florida, likely making landfall tomorrow night on the coast of Florida, and then eventually shifting into the Ohio Valley, bringing a swath of rainfall. So because of that, we're actually issuing a weather impact alert day for Friday. I'm going to be talking about if severe weather will mix into the forecast with the heavy rainfall and the strong wind gusts. You don't want to miss that very important 7-day forecast.
Right, Sam, thank you. The Letcher County Sheriff accused of killing a district judge inside of his own chambers pleaded not guilty in court today. State police said Sheriff Sean Mickey Steins fatally shot District Judge Kevin Mullins at the courthouse in Whitesburg, Kentucky last Thursday. Steins surrendered to authorities immediately. An investigator said the two men were arguing before that shooting, but those who knew the men told us they were friends. Steins is charged with murder. He'll be back in court October 1st at 1 p.m. A former Campbellville University wrestling coach is speaking out about the circumstances surrounding his termination from the school. Frankie James was the coach when one of his wrestlers was killed and another student charged in his death. Our Jose Alonso spoke exclusively with James, who says the firing was unfair.
Turnover at Campbellville University's wrestling program. The private Christian school was at the center of a student who was killed, leading to the manhunt for Charles Escaleta in February.
So the month that he was here, we recognized that he was having some mental health issues, and we worked hard to make sure that those university resources were available to him, and he used those university resources, and those university resources failed him. 6
months after the tragedy on campus, head coach of the wrestling program, Frankie James, was fired from his position. He founded the program in 2004.
Because I was so hurt and upset. How do you treat someone like this? You know, we're a private Christian school. You know, you're not doing what's best for your students or your longtime employees right now. What is going on? It just feels like a betrayal, and they've just needed someone to kind of put this on, and so yeah, they're making me the scapegoat. That's what it seems like. Yeah.
For the first time, he's speaking out on what he's calling an unjust firing. His termination letter says he was discharged with cause as a result of how he interacted with his team during this tragic time.
Our team healed, and we were moving on, and we were ready to go and start a new season and start a new year. And like I said, a week before, you wait until a week before to make this decision. It happened in February. How do you wait 6 months to make this decision when everybody's healed up?
I reached out to the university and asked them for more details on Mr. James's termination. I also asked them if they received letters and emails from alumni looking for some clarity on the termination as well. The university responded saying they do not comment on private matters.
I think that's been their goal, is to be quiet and kind of sweep it under the rug, and yeah, I think they're going to stay quiet.
James calls 18-year-old Montana native Josiah Kilman a kind person and says the loss continues to eat at him.
That's a terrible thing, you know, I brought him here, so I feel awful and terrible about that. So yeah, there's a lot of trust there from the family and from the individual, and coming, you know, and so they're trusting my reputation. They're coming out to wrestle for our program, and yeah, it's just a tragedy. People are invested in the wrestling program here in my 20 years here, and they want to know what's going on. How could a private Christian university treat someone this way?
A new semester on campus with many questions left unanswered. In Campbellville, Jose Alonso, WHAS11 on your side.
As part of James' termination, he's no longer able to speak with current students or be on campus without permission. James said he still has personal items on campus he's trying to get back, but the university won't answer him or his lawyer. We are learning more about the shooting that killed Russell County Sheriff's Deputy Joshua Phipps. Kentucky State Police said the incident began as a traffic stop in Russell Springs in southern Kentucky. During that traffic stop, police said Joshua Arnold drove off, which led to a chase. And while looking for him, Deputy Phipps entered a camper and that's when police say shots were fired. Deputy Phipps and Arnold later died at the hospital from gunshot wounds. Phipps was a 3-year veteran of the Russell County Sheriff's Office and former LMPD officer. The Kentucky couple who found the body of the suspected I-75 shooter received the first part of that reward money. The City of London shared this photo yesterday of Fred and Shayla McCoy, along with the Mayor Randall Weddle and KSP Trooper Scotty Pennington during the check presentation. The McCoys were live streaming that search last week when they found Joseph Couch's body. They received a $10,000 check from WB Transport, the first of several checks the McCoys will receive as part of the $35,000 reward. Butchertown Brewing is remembering a boy killed more than a year ago in a crash. Today would have been Jake Luxemberger's 12th birthday. He died last year when a driver fleeing police hit his family's car. Well, last weekend, Jake's parents officially launched a foundation in his honor that will focus on things he loved, like youth sports. And as well, in honor of his birthday, Butchertown Brewing is celebrating Luxemberger with the release of its second special bottle. Today's celebration starts at 6 o'clock.